Please like this video. It will really help this story reach as many people as possible. Thank you so much for your support. She came in at 3 on the dot, heels in one hand, mascara smeared, cheap wine, and someone else's cologne drifting in before she did. She swung past me and tossed it like a cigarette, but on my porch. Relax. We're not married yet. I can do what I want. I watched her drop a shoe by the hallway table I built last spring. The other heel clacked against tile. That a new dress? I asked. She didn't slow. Maybe. Interesting perfume. Yours. She fumbled in the kitchen, opened the fridge, stared at nothing. Don't start. 8 hours of silence after quick dinner with the girls, new dress I've never seen, and lectures about ownership. I said, I'm not starting anything. I'm taking notes. She took a bottle of water, didn't drink it, and walked to the bedroom. We're not married. I'm not on a leash. Good news. I answered, following to the doorway and stopping there. I don't do leashes. I do respect. She scoffed, flopped on the bed without even wiping off the makeup, and waved me away. You're dramatizing. Call it what you want, I said. I'm seeing a test. She pulled a pillow over her head. Go sleep on the couch if you're going to sermonize. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have slept like a baby. But I was still playing fair then. I took the chair by the window and listened to the ceiling fan complain. In the morning, she pretended to be late for a spin class that didn't exist. I asked if she'd texted the girls. She said yes, too quick. I let it sit. I had a coffee, ran a hand over the oak counter, and set my day differently. At lunch, I met Marcus at Harbor Diner, the old spot with sticky sugar caddies and a waitress who calls everybody Han without blinking. Marcus is my friend from high school, a guy who learned to read trouble before it learned to read him. He slid into the booth and tapped the cracked vinyl menu. You look like you didn't sleep. I slept, I said. Just not at night. What's up? Brooke rolled in at 3. Wine on her breath. Someone else's cologne. Gave me a speech about freedom. He leaned back, gave me that slow blink he uses when he's looking for a polite word and can't find one. Not love. That's what you're asking me. I'm asking if I'm being rigid. He raised 2 fingers for coffee. Rigid as locking the door. You asked a question. She chose a statement. We're not married. I can do what I want. That's not a hiccup. That's framing. She had a girls' dinner. Yeah? My dog says he's a senator, he murmured. You're getting married in a week? 6 days. And you're hoping the paperwork will tidy this up, he said. I half smiled. Do I look that naive? You look like a man trying to make a clean picture out of a messy brush. Don't wait for a miracle after signatures, Marcus said. Whatever you're seeing now is the demo version. Full release comes with more features. I tapped the mug. So I call the whole thing. I didn't say that, he said. I said stop placing bets you can't cover. She pushes a boundary. Move the fence. Not to punish. To stop the parade. I move it. She calls me controlling. He shrugged. People who don't like limits always say that. Your job isn't to win the comment section. Your job is to set your rules and keep them. I want to be fair. I don't want to be a cop. Be a man, he said simply. Don't wait for somebody to hand you your dignity. You keep it or you lose it. That's not a cop thing. The waitress filled our cups. Wedding coming up? She asked, nodding at the tux brochure half spilling from my folder. Supposedly, I said. Make sure she's kind, the waitress said. Pretty fades, mean doesn't. She moved on. Marcus smirked. Savannah wisdom. Add grits. I told him about the rehearsal barbecue at her parents' place in Pooler. Tomorrow. Everybody coming. He stirred his coffee. Show up steady. Read the room. If she plays games, don't chase. You change the plan. Adults only. I nodded. If she disappears again, then you make your absence a fact too, he said. And don't wring your hands doing it. Pooler's lawns were clipped to attention the next day. Her parents' place is a neat brick single-story with a pecan tree shading the driveway. Folding tables, coolers, a borrowed grill. Her dad, Roy, wears a belt even when he's barbecuing. Her mom, Denise, has a dish towel slung over one shoulder like a badge. Guests rolled in with bowls and smiles. Brooke was on her way. Noon passed. 1, 2. Denise kept unlocking and relocking her phone. Roy poked at the ribs as if they had a secret. I played cornhole with a cousin who kept glancing at the road. I smiled, made small talk, held the rope. At 3, Denise walked over with a plain face. Have you heard from her? Not since morning, I said. She said she was with the girls, Denise murmured, as if the volume could change the content. Roy joined us with tongs like a sheriff with a baton. You know how she gets with time, he said. I've noticed, I said. Her younger sister, Lila, hovered behind the drink table, refilling cups, eyes cutting to me and away. Lila's a grad student who speaks softly and sees everything. She came up with 2 lemonades and tilted her head toward the side yard. We stepped past the garbage bins and a sagging fence line. She waited until the wind rustled enough to cover us. You're holding it together, she said. But it shows. I'm not here to pile on. I'm just saying, don't expect a miracle after she signs. Direct family motto today? I tried for dry humor. She barely smiled. I mean it. I know her rhythms. The disappearances aren't accidents. Appreciate the honesty, I said. I'm not in the market for fairy tales. Good, she said, and almost touched my arm. Thought better, folded her hands. If you need a witness, I'm right here. By 5, the ribs were good, the coleslaw was tired, and Brooke's phone was still sliding to voicemail. Denise made excuses to the aunts. Roy opened a second cooler. I kept standing, nothing to hide. At 10:30 that night, I pulled up to our place in Savannah behind a rideshare. Brooke stepped out, laughter still clinging to her even though her face had that slack, late-night shine. She wobbled a little, missed the doormat, found the lock with too much effort. Let me pause the story for just a second. If you're still listening, please hit the like button on this video. It really helps YouTube show this story to more people. Thank you so much for the support. Now let's get back to the story. Your family hosted your barbecue, I said in the doorway. You were invited. She breezed past me and tossed her bag on the couch. Phone died. I was with the girls. Stop policing. Not policing, I said, naming what happened. You left your own family standing, and me with them, and turned off the lights on communication. That's not nerves. That's disrespect. And it wasn't private. It was a show. Your mom saw it. Your dad saw it. Lila saw it. I saw it. She gaped, then laughed and waved it off. You're being dramatic. After the wedding, things will be better. You're stressed. I'm stressed. We'll get through it. That line is tired, I replied, and hung our keys on the hook because somebody should do something practical. If there's no respect now, there's no magic waiting after a certificate. She tossed her hair like it could deflect logic. You want me to beg for forgiveness because I had one last night out. I want honesty, I said, and partnership. Today you gave me neither. Then call it off, she fired back too fast. I paused, looked at her for a clean 5 seconds, then pulled my phone from my pocket. Tomorrow, we change the plan. She tried to read my face. What does that mean? It means I'm not pretending anymore, I said. You'll see. She froze there like she expected thunder. I gave her quiet instead. I slept just fine that night. At 8 a.m., I called the florist. This is Ethan, I said. I'm canceling the order. The owner started to recite policies. I kept my voice calm. Charge whatever the contract forces. Deliver nothing. We're not doing flowers. Then I opened my laptop and paused the payment to the boutique holding her dress. I sent a clean email. Please hold. Do not process final balance until further notice. No blame. No story. Just a switch flipped. I printed the hotel confirmations for the honeymoon and slid them into the drawer by the front door because those were paid in full and I like my paperwork where I can touch it. At 10, my phone buzzed like a chainsaw. You canceled the flowers? Book shot. No hello. I did, I said, and I asked the shop to hold the dress until I decide. You're punishing me. I'm setting a boundary, I said. There's a difference. Do you know what you're doing to me? She asked, voice climbing. Guests are flying in. My mom. Your mom hosted an event you didn't attend. I cut in. If you want to be treated like a partner, act like one. No more disappearing acts. No more phone died monologues. No public disrespect. Going forward, zero tolerance. She went quiet just long enough to pick a lane. Then she softened everything at once. Ethan, I love you, she whispered. I'm under pressure. I messed up. Don't blow up my life because I had a bad day. Please. I'll fix it. Here's the rule, I said. From right now until the wedding, you're either present and reachable or we pause the whole thing. No excuses. No last hurrahs. You want this? Show me. She sniffed like she might cry. I will. I swear. I'll be the woman you need. We'll see. I said, and I meant it. I'm not interested in speeches. I'm measuring behavior. The next 7 days looked like a commercial for a different couple. She left little notes on the coffee maker. She texted midday, thinking of you. She cooked twice, which in our old schedule would have been a headline. She held my hand at the hardware store, which is a place she usually escapes from. She stretched a smile over everything like saran wrap. Better? She asked one evening, setting a plate down exactly centered on the placemat. It's quieter, I said, and kept my tone even. Inside, I taped the new picture beside the old one and looked for glue. I didn't argue with the calm. I just didn't pretend it erased the week before. Thursday, she swung by my shop. Small construction crew, nothing fancy, just enough to keep my hands honest, and dropped off iced teas for everyone. The guys whistled, joked, gave me a look. I nodded back like I accepted the gesture and kept my eyes open. Friday morning was the bachelorette party march. It's just a few hours, she said, lip gloss steady, dress simple for once. Remember the rule, I said. Reachable, respectful. I know, she said, kissed my cheek lightly, and posted something smiley before the door clicked. Midnight came with no noise. 1, 2. At 4:20, the lock ticked. She stepped in with her hair, not even pretending. A bruise bloomed under one eye. Makeup smeared to the edges like it tried to run. She dropped her clutch onto a chair and gave me a tired grin. I tripped on the dance floor, she said before I asked. I said. She kicked off her shoes by feel. Nothing major. Fun night. Amber's husband wasn't even mad, she tossed out, then realized she'd said it and tried to reel it back. I mean, he wasn't there. Anyway. I picked up the throw blanket from the couch and set it over her shoulders. You want ice? I'm fine, she said. Don't turn this into a thing. You get weird when I'm tired. I get clear when I'm lied to, I said. But I'm not fighting at 5 in the morning. Go lie down. She wobbled toward the bedroom. I love you, she called out as if the declaration could mop the hallway. I watched the door shut. The remark about Amber's husband sat on the table between the keys and the bruise. I didn't touch it. I didn't sleep either. I made coffee and laid my suit out flat. People were going to show up in church clothes, and I wasn't going to give them a scene. That part one could control. By 10 a.m., the church parking lot was a parade of rental sedans and pastel dresses. The room they gave me had a cut glass window and 2 chairs. My tie lay across one. I checked my watch and answered 2 texts from out-of-towners. I didn't look for Brooke. I was done chasing. A knock. I expected Marcus. Lila slipped in instead, closing the door with her back. Her hands shook so much she had to hold her phone with both. I need to show you something, she said. I nodded once. Take your time. She opened a video. Loud music. A living room jammed with glitter, shouting, someone's banner. The camera swung and found Brooke in the center, not dizzy, not lost, focused. Her hands around a man's shoulders. His face turned, clear enough. Jason, Amber's husband, who'd made a joke about the open bar at the barbecue. Not a peck, not a mistake. Intent. Deliberate. The camera jostled as people yelled. Somewhere glass shattered. The footage jumped and cut off. Lila swallowed. I should have told you last night, but there was shouting and my phone died. And she stopped herself. I didn't want to be part of the cover story. I took her phone and watched the clip again, not because I needed to double check, but because I wanted to file the details in a drawer I could label. When it finished, I stood still for a beat. Thank you, I said. Do you want me to delete it? She asked, like the file itself was a weapon. No, I said. Keep it. You may need it for yourself. She blinked. What are you going to do? I looked out the diamond window at the guests stepping onto the path, laughing, fixing jackets, checking lipstick. Roy shook a deacon's hand. Denise arranged a corsage with the concentration of a bomb tech. I checked the time. I'm not going to the altar, I said calmly. And I won't be in the parking lot either. She stared, then nodded, a small shiver of relief and dread in the same motion. Do you need help? Yeah, I said. Do you have your bag? It's in my car. Good, I said. Take the silver sedan from the back lot. I'm going to hand these keys to Marcus, and we're going to leave through the side door. The hotel on the coast is already paid. We're going to borrow the piece we bought. Her eyes widened. You want me to? Come with me? Yes, I said. This isn't an escape to a balcony romance. This is an exit from a circus. You told me not to expect a miracle after signatures. I listened. She let out a breath she'd been holding since last week. Okay. I texted Marcus, side door. Need you to cover for 20 minutes. He replied with a thumbs up and a skull, which is his favorite way of saying death to nonsense. We stepped into the hall. A junior usher tried to hustle us toward the main entrance. I held up a hand and said, "Change of plan." He blinked and backed away. We moved down the side stairs like we were going to the basement to fix a fuse. Outside, the air felt normal. We got into the sedan. Lila drove. I kept quiet. At the light by the old square, I said, "Thank you for telling me." I hated doing it, she said. But I hated the alternative more. Me too, I said. 2 hours later, the ocean replaced the sermon in my ears. The hotel didn't blink at 2 guests and 1 reservation. Money spends the same no matter who sleeps. I took the key cards and stepped out onto the balcony, where the salt air made more sense than planters and posed photos. The phone lit up. Unknown number, then Denise's, then Roy's. Finally Brooke. I answered. "Yeah." "Where are you?" Her voice was high and thin like a kite string pulled too tight. "Everyone is seated. Do not do this to me." "I'm on the honeymoon," I said, leaning on the rail because it was there. "With your sister." Silence, then a gasp like a stage note. "You're unbelievable. After everything I've done to fix this week." "Stop," I said. "I'm not here to trade speeches. There's a video of last night. It's clear. I'm not making assumptions. I'm making a decision." "I was drunk," she blurted. "It was stupid. It didn't mean anything. I was upset. I tripped. People overreacted. Amber made it bigger. It's not what it. I don't care about the script," I said. "I care about respect. You tested boundaries. You ignored family. You treated me like a prop. You wanted to lock in the status and keep your sideshows. There isn't a version of that where I stand at an altar and hand you my name. You can't leave me like this," she said. "People are here. My parents." "Your parents will survive the truth," I said. "And the truth is simple. There will not be a second chance. This isn't payback. This is me choosing quiet over chaos." "You'll regret this," she tried. "I regret waiting as long as I did," I said. "That ends now." "I'll come there," she said, last card in her fist. "We'll talk in person. Don't involve Lila. You're dragging her into something She involved herself by telling the truth," I said. "And you involved everyone when you made a show of disrespect." Conversation over. "Don't hang up," she snapped. I let a beat pass so my last words wouldn't overlap hers. "Take care of yourself." Then I ended the call and powered the phone down. Not because I feared more pleading, because I was done giving noise a microphone. Lila stood in the doorway with a towel on her shoulder like she'd been considering the pool and changed her mind. "How bad?" she asked. "Final," I said. She nodded. "Good." We sat on the balcony without talking for a long time. The ocean did all the speaking a person needs. Marcus texted later that afternoon from a number I keep under work. "You're a legend." Roy took it like a man. Denise went white. Brooke threw a bouquet at a trash can and missed. Jason didn't show. Of course. I replied, "Thanks for the cover." He sent back, "Proud of you. Eat something good." We did. Grilled fish, nothing fancy, the kind of meal that tastes like competence. Lila ate 3 bites and laughed at herself for being hungry at the wrong time. I told her there's no wrong time for food or truth. We stayed 2 nights, not because we were hiding, but because I'd already paid and the alternative was answering people who didn't need an answer yet. Monday morning, I packed my bag and drove back to Savannah. Brooke had taken some clothes, not all. The fridge was still full of the week's attempt at a new personality. I stood in the kitchen and looked at the notes she'd left. "Have a great day. You've got this. Pasta tonight?" And slid them into a drawer. Not to keep, to remove from the counters. I called Denise. "I'm sorry for the embarrassment," I said. "I won't be coming over to debrief." "I don't know what to say," she murmured. "You don't have to say anything," I said. "I wish you peace." "That's not sarcasm." Roy took the phone and cleared his throat. "You did what you had to do." "Thank you," I said, "for the ribs." He almost laughed, then didn't. "You take care, son." "Son." That landed clean. I hung up and called the florist again. "We won't be needing anything. Keep the deposit." The owner sounded sorry and also relieved to be done with my file. I moved the ceremony folder into the trash bin by the desk. No drama, just gravity. For a week, Brooke sent texts in batches. Long paragraphs, short barbs. Try this tone, then that. I answered once. There's nothing to discuss. After that, silence became our whole language. Lila stayed out of the argument except to send one message. You don't owe me explanations. I wrote back. You don't owe me either. Then we both stopped before we turned into a different kind of mess. Months rolled. I worked. The shop took on a porch rebuild during the spring storms, then a kitchen remodel for a neighbor who paid on time and brought us lemonade. Marcus and I started running on Saturdays because it's easy to outrun old noise when your lungs are busy with new oxygen. My evenings were simple. A grill, a book that wasn't about fixing anyone, a dog I adopted that first week because the house needed a heartbeat that didn't argue. He snores like a small engine and thinks squirrels are federal agents. He follows me around the yard like I might appoint him to head of security. Maybe I did. I bought a used truck with cash and a clean frame. Because I like things that carry weight without complaining. I put time into the house, repainted the trim, rebuilt the back steps, planted tomatoes that didn't ask to be adored. They only required water and sun. Eventually I met someone. Not in a blaze. She's a nurse at the clinic who likes straight lines and quiet breakfasts. We take walks by the river and talk about nothing urgent. She respects my time like it has a spine. I like that. I hear about broken fragments. She moved into a rental closer to town. The circle she kept shrank by one husband and then two. The job she loved turned into a schedule that didn't love her back. People are polite. They don't say why. They don't have to. Actions make their own press releases. Sometimes I pass Harbor Diner and see Marcus through the window, holding court with a cup and a grin. I go in, and the waitress says Han, and we sit under the hum of a fan that doesn't pretend to be more than what it is. He asked me once, any regrets? Only that I didn't move the fence sooner, I said. But it was worth learning that quiet isn't boring. It's peace. He raised his mug. To peace. I tapped mine against his. To boundaries. That's the whole story. No fireworks. No courtroom. No shouting in parking lots. No throwing rings into fountains. Just a man who stopped negotiating with disrespect, and a woman who found out the stage doesn't pay rent when the audience leaves. People think strength is a roar. Sometimes it's a calm voice that says, no more, and then walks toward the ocean. Our story has come to an end. If you've made it this far, how about subscribing to our channel? It helps us immensely. I've selected 2 other videos for you that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Feel free to click on them. I'll be waiting for you in the next story. See you soon.